So I really enjoyed watching this film last night, and can you share with the viewers what, I understand that you were fascinated with the stories about the Roman Empire. Was this kind of the passion project for you, Paul?
Definitely. I mean, I grew up close to Hadrian's Wall, which was a big Roman fortification. So Romans were a big part of my life when I was a kid. And I think, like all kids, I love volcanoes. So Pompeii is the ideal story because it's like Romans and volcanoes combined. And I think one of the things people don't realize about Pompeii, if they know anything about Pompeii, people think it was a volcanic eruption. But actually, in 24 hours, Pompeii was hit with not just a volcanic eruption, it was also a giant earthquake and a tsunami.
Oh my gosh.
And so, you know, it was like a triple threat that people had to struggle to survive. And that was the story that we wanted to kind of bring to life, was like this cataclysmic natural disaster, probably the biggest natural disaster of the ancient world. And then tell kind of a love story juxtaposed against that.
When you mentioned about you fascinated about, besides the Roman Empire, also volcano, what is it about volcano that fascinated you? Like,
it's just the power of nature. I mean, when you see a volcano erupt, I mean,
can't
it's
escape,
like,
right?
Well, as advanced as we think we are, you know, and we live in this technologically modern world and everyone's got their iPhones, and think about the Roman Empire at the time, how technologically advanced it was.
Yes.
And they were just powerless in the face of the force of nature, just as we are.
Yes.
And I think, you know, Pompeii has a lot to say about the hubris of humanity as well, because Vesuvius is still an active volcano, and now there's 2.5 million people living in the blast radius. So when that volcano explodes again, and it will explode, it's not a question of, it's just a question of when it's going to happen.
Right.
The tragedy and the disaster will be even greater. But it, you know, it says a lot about the human condition that the people still live there, because they go, well, I know it happened in the past, and it's going to happen in the future, but it's not going to happen to me.
Or they said, well, we're all going to die at some point, so, you know, it's okay as long as I enjoy where I am at this moment.
That's true,
I'm not going to worry about what's going to happen tomorrow.
Well, that's one of the, one of the fascinating things about Pompeii, I feel, is when you go there, you see the figures that are kind of frozen in time. You see people, how they met their deaths, because when they died in Pompeii, the death was quick.
Yes.
You know, you died in a split second.
Yes.
And you can see that. And you see some people chose to meet their deaths running away.
Yes.
Some people were cowering in terror. And the two figures I love are they're called the lovers.
Yeah.
They're kind of intertwined and they're looking into each other's eyes.
Yes.
And that's how they choose to meet their end. And I found that fascinating. That was really the inspiration for the whole movie.
Wow. And speaking of the inspiration for the whole movie, can you talk about the casting a little bit? Because what made you choose Kit for the role of Milo?
I think the guy's a movie star. I really do. When I watched
from Game of Thrones?
I watched Game of Thrones. I watched season
Love
1
that.
and 2 back to back in probably 24 hours.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because I'd kind of missed, I was working, and my wife kind of turned me onto it, and she said, you have to watch this show, it's fantastic. So I had a big Game of Thrones-a-thon, and I think the cast was magnificent.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Sean Bean. I've worked with him
That's
on
sad that he
several
does.
movies.
He's
Exactly.
like, oh.
But for me, the person who really popped out of the show was Kit. I mean, I really felt like he was a movie star waiting to happen. So I was very, very excited to work with him.
Well, you know, I thought the film was just really cool to watch, especially in 3D. And I'm sure you probably had a great time shooting this film in 3D, yes?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the kind of movie that 3D was built for.
Yeah.
It's a very immersive film, and the 3D really helps drag you into it. I mean, I think, and it's done well, the 3D as well. We actually shot the movie in 3D. You know, there are some films that you go, you know what, I'm glad I saw that in 3D. When I saw Gravity, that movie was built for 3D. Yeah. And I think in the same way, Pompeii, it's like, you really get a lot more out of the film if you go see it in 3D.
Thank you so much for talking to us, Paul.
Thank you.